In the spring, everyone agreed, the English would march into the countryside and really start fighting. And when they did, Paul Revere would have to be ahead of them. On Saturday, April 15th, spring, it seemed, had arrived. Boats for moving troops had been seen on the Charles River. English scouts had been observed on the road to Lexington and Concord. A stable boy had overheard two officers making plans. At 10:45 on Tuesday night, April 18th, Dr. Joseph Warren, who was directing Patriot activities in Boston, sent for Paul Revere. Other messengers had been dispatched for Lexington and Concord by longer routes. Paul was to go, as planned, the same way the English were going, across the Charles River. He was to alarm the citizens so they could arm themselves, and he was to inform John Hancock and Samuel Adams, Boston's two Patriot leaders who were staying in Lexington. And Paul was to leave now. He had already arranged a quick way of warning the people of Charlestown across the river. 2 lanterns were to be hung in the steeple of the North Church if the English were coming by water. 1 lantern if they were coming by land. So Paul rushed to the North Church and gave directions. 2 lanterns, he said. Now. Then he ran home, flung open the door, pulled on his boots, grabbed his coat, kissed his wife, told the children to be good, and off he went, his hat clapped to his head, his coat-tails flying. He was in such a hurry that he left the door open, and his dog got out. On the way to the river, Paul picked up 2 friends who had promised to row him to the other side. Then all 3 ran to a dock near the Charlestown ferry where Paul had kept a boat hidden during the winter. Paul's dog ran with them. The night was pleasant and the moon was bright. Too bright. In the path of moonlight across the river lay an armed English transport. Paul and his friends would have to row past it. Then Paul realized his first mistake. He had meant to bring cloth to wrap around the oars so the sound would be muffled. He had left the cloth at home. That wasn't all he had left behind. Paul Revere had started out for his big ride without his spurs. What could be done? Luckily, one of Paul's friends knew a lady who lived nearby. He ran to her house, called at her window, and asked for some cloth. This lady was not a time waster. She stepped out of the flannel petticoat she was wearing and threw it out the window. Then for the spurs. Luckily, Paul's dog was there, and luckily, he was well trained. Paul wrote a note to his wife, tied it around the dog's neck, and told the dog to go home. By the time Paul and his friends had ripped the petticoat in 2, wrapped each half around an oar, and launched the boat, the dog was back with Paul's spurs around his neck. Paul and his 2 friends rowed softly across the Charles River. They slipped carefully past the English transport with its 64 guns, and they landed in the shadows on the other side, safely. There, a group of men from Charlestown who had seen the signal in the church steeple had a horse waiting for Paul. And off Paul Revere rode on his big ride.